Friends, I'm very happy to inform you that today we are not going to start any new chapter. We are just going through all 4 chapters which have already taken. Understand? Okay, so I hope you remember 4 chapters from the first unit. First one was 3 L's of Empowerment. The second one, Any Woman by Catherine Tinan. Third one, Matchbox by Asha Purnadevi. And the fourth one, Horagalo by Sudha Moti. That was an anecdote. Matchbox was a story, a short story. Any Woman was a poem, and 3 L's of Empowerment by Christian Lagarde was a speech. I understand why we study English. If someone asks you, to develop our language, to develop our linguistic capacity, right? If it is so, let me ask you one thing. How we can improve by reading a text or by just understanding or analyzing a textbook? It's not possible. So, sole content or the sole thing which we have to study from the English textbook is how to do the activities behind all chapters, how to do the activities behind all units, right? So here we are going to discuss the important activities of all these 4 chapters. I will be explaining that how to do that. And the second thing, you have to do it and write it again. Maybe when we go through the chapters, maybe I have given you the task once. Then you have to cross check it and send it again. I don't want you to do it again, but you have to send me this. Okay. Anyway, coming to the chapter again, let me tell you one thing. When we study for examination, we have public examination, right? So when we study for that, how we have to concentrate on each chapter. Here, this graph will give you a clear idea about all chapters and all units and how you have to concentrate. Look at the first one. This is the score for your public examination. For how many marks you will be asked for public examination? From the first unit, you will be asked for 20 marks. The second unit 16, 16, 16, and equally important. And the last unit is less important comparing to other, but it's important to score an A+, because you cannot score A+ without 12 marks, right? That's good. Anyway, 25% of the mark or the questions will be from the first unit. That's why you should concentrate it very well. That's why we are also focusing on the first unit again and again. So let's come to the main activity from the first chapter. You have to concentrate on one activity from the first chapter. What's the name of first chapter? 3 L's of Empowerment. Right. I hope you remember leadership and other qualities which a woman need to be developed in her life or to get empowerment in her life, right? Okay. Anyway, just look. Christian Lagarde suggests various means of empowering women. She persuasively insists on the idea that women should think and act independently. Keeping this in mind, prepare the script of a persuasive speech on the topic, Education is a key to women empowerment, to be delivered in the school assembly on International Women's Day, March 8. So the question is very clear here that you have to prepare a speech, not a simple speech, a persuasive speech. So you have to underline this word. What is it? A persuasive speech, because you know that's very much important. Because for your examination, maybe you would ask the same thing. Okay, what do you mean by persuasive speech? Persuasive speech means a motivational one. Something that will give us energy, something that will boost us. Such speeches are known as persuasive. I hope we have 2 persuasive speeches to study from our textbook itself. I hope you remember the speech of Martin Luther King Jr. and speech of Anthony, right? We have watched that in between the class. Now just go through how to do this activity. See, a persuasive speech. In a speech, whenever you write a speech for examination, you should understand the following things. It's clearly given in the textbook, but just let me go through that. Okay. Purpose of the speech, why you are delivering the speech, how to write that, understand. So you are standing. So I'm standing here in front of you to deliver a speech on the topic women empowerment, or education is the key to a successful journey of a woman, right? If I'm going to speak that one, what is the purpose? My purpose is to deliver that oration to make all you empowered, to give you such an instinct to you all. So you should mention the purpose, right? Type of audience addressed. So you should know. See, we cannot mention that in the speech, but you should know what type of audience are there. Then if it is student, or if it is a mass audience, or many people are there from outside and inside, then you can include in your speech brothers and sisters. Sometimes if it is in the school assembly, you can tell, oh, my dear boys and girls, my dear friends, my dear students, like that. So to tell that, you should understand what type of audience you are facing. That would be there in the question itself. Understand how should be the structure of a speech. So it should be logical, clear, sequencing of ideas, and you have to understand contents, messages, facts, statistics. Means this is an important word, statistics. How it's important, in a speech. Even if you're going outside to deliver a speech, or you are just participating in a speech, so this word is important. Statistics means you should give some numbers, some facts, which adds flavor to your speech. When someone listens to your speech, if you have enough statistics, like if you are going to speak about women empowerment, or you are speaking about education, you can do one thing. You can take the ratio of the women and men in educational sector, in job sector, and you can present that statistics in front of the audience. They would be impressed, right? Like that. See, persuasive techniques. Persuasive techniques means to impress them or to make them motivated. What we have to do? First thing, repetition. When someone repeats the same idea again and again, you should do that. When you do that, like if you're repeating the same words, what it means? There is an importance and there is a stress. And satire. Satire means like joking, or some kind of satire. Really, it's a literary technique. We just find satire to mock at someone, to laugh at someone. Why? To make the idea very clear for them. Okay. So we are just using that technique of a joke or anything, and appropriate use of language, and rhetorical devices means something literary, means some literary elements, like some figure of speech you are using, some kind of imaginary using, some kind of similes you are using in your speech, right? Okay. And that would, you have to just think appropriate language. That's correct, right? When we speak, we should use appropriate language, then that would be more effective. Okay. Another thing, use of stress, rhythm and intonation. This you cannot write. That you cannot show me through a notebook. You can show me through the online classes. Maybe I'll be asking you when you, after writing a script in the online classes. So I don't know who will be lucky to act the stress and the rhythm, intonation, other thing. Okay, maybe there are two types of tone for the speech, maybe informal, maybe formal. So I'm just talking. If it is an offline class, we will have an informal talk always, right? But in case of online, we should be formal in many way, right? Because it's recorded already, and you have to also think about it. So that is the one activity which you should focus. Another activities, I hope you already know that, because we were discussing the same thing in the beginning of the chapter. Just read it and understand. That's all. I don't tell you to write it again and again. That's all. Just this is also important to understand the theme. Okay. Anyway, that's from the first chapter. So let's move to the second chapter. Name of the chapter is very clear, Any Woman by Catherine Tinan. So coming to the activities like composing lines, already you know that, so I'm not going to explain it all. So just you have to compose some lines. Maybe you will be asked the same question for examination also. So I'm not appreciation. Here we have to focus. You already know how to prepare an appreciation. Understand, try to read and write the appreciation of any woman also. Understand. See, otherwise, what happens if you try to write it? What happens, when you write something, you will remember it forever. But if you don't write, if you are just reading, you cannot remember it forever. So that's a difference. So just try to write that any woman. I know that you have already idea about appreciation of a poem, right? Don't forget that. And comparison and appreciation. From your +1 English examination, you were asked to appreciate the poem, right? Like that, it's a sure question of 8 marks. Either it will be of appreciating a poem, right? Another thing, it would be like appreciation, comparison between a poem which is given in the textbook and which is and between one given in the question paper also. Okay. You are aware of the pivotal role of a woman, especially the mother at home. There are occasions when her self-effacing love painfully missing, when the prayer, take me not till the children grow, has not been realized. There are sometimes some like that. Anyway, here in your textbook, you have to read a poem and compare with any woman. Do that activity very well. Okay. To understand that poem, just read that poem from the textbook. Don't forget. Okay. Answer the following questions from that poem which is given in the textbook. What is the theme of the poem? Do you justify the father's action? Why? What is the symbolic significance of the toys? Comment on these lines, citing the importance of the mother in a family. Take me not till the children grow, any woman. His mother who was patient, being dead. See, the toys, that is another poem. So from these 2 lines, why these questions are given here? When you answer all those questions, you will get clear idea about the second poem, and when you answer this question, you will get clear idea about both poems. That's the main point here. So don't forget to answer this. I understand you already know how to appreciate the poem, so don't forget to write it. I hope if you already have done this, I don't have any complaint, but if you are not, you should do it again. And at the online class, at the live session, I will be asking you to show you your notebook. Okay. And your open house is very nearby. Don't forget that. Okay. So that's about the second chapter from the first unit. Now there is questions. See, any woman, and prepare a review focusing on the themes and their significance. Okay. So that's all about the poem from any woman. So let's move to the third chapter and what are the important activities in that one. Okay. From the matchbox, we have to concentrate on 2 activities, right? First one is panel discussion. So for your public examination, there are 2 ways of asking questions from panel discussion. First one may be to write the report of a panel discussion which is conducted in your school or in any program. Or maybe you will be asked to write, suppose you are a panel member in a panel discussion, just write down something you are presenting. Or maybe you are asked, you are the moderator of a panel discussion, just welcome everyone to this one. So to answer all those questions, basically you should know what is panel discussion, right? So let's read it together. Panel discussion. The word panel means a group of experts. Understand? The discussion held among these expert members in front of an audience could be called a panel discussion. It helps to clarify the difficult aspects of topic in a systematic and objective manner. There are 3 sets of participants in a panel discussion. They are panelist, moderator, audience. So whenever you prepare a report or whenever you write a script to present as a panelist, you should consider these things, audience and panelist. Maybe when you are writing a report, you should mention that an audience or a person from the audience asked a question and it was answered like, okay. Now conduct a panel discussion on the topic Indian women finding a space in the socio-cultural milieu, points to be considered. So that's coming, okay. So in a socio-cultural situation, in this situation, how we can find space for women, that is a topic. So how we can conduct. So before that, just go what textbook says us, then I will be explaining, okay. The effect of the media on women's self-image, healthy woman, healthy nation, the need for cultivating mental strength and mental toughness, the need for a productive and harmonious work environment, acting as mentor and guide to the women and girls, other marginalized sections of society, the pivotal role of women from the past to the present. So understand, my dear friends, here these are the points to be included. So how you prepare a panel discussion? First of all, you should write the moderator. Moderator, what is the duty of a moderator in a panel discussion? To call everyone, to welcome everyone, and to give chance to panelist 1, to panelist 2, just you speak now, let the panelist 2 speak, let A speak, let B speak, like that, to control, like an anchor. So here, panelists are experts in the field concerned, decide upon the panelist. How? So we have to list the panelist first. So when you list them, panelist, their name, designation like BA, MA, MSc, B.Ed, like PhD, doctor in science, okay, or got doctorate in something else, and the professor of something, Calicut University or any other university, you have to write the designation of every panelist. Select the moderator, see who facilitates the panel discussion. She initially welcomes the panelists and introduces them to the audience. Like what, if I am a moderator, I will be talking like, okay, so here we are to have a panel discussion on the topic, the women finding space in the socio-cultural milieu of Indian culture, like, okay, then I will just, so we have many eminent personalities today with us, like our honorable guest today, the doctor from the University of Cambridge, Dr. Hardin be here, and we have Dr. Valsa from Malayalam University. Like that, we have to explain their designation and we have to welcome them. That's the first point. And so here you have different questions regarding panel discussion. First question: prepare the script of a speech welcoming the panelists and introducing them to the audience. Like you can start like, good morning, I'm extremely happy, it gives me immense pleasure today. We are going to have, so I hope you understand it. You don't need such hints, but you should write it because to familiarize with, or to be familiar with these like questions. See, coming to the next one. After the panel presentation and discussion, the moderator synthesizes and summarizes the key points, right? Prepare the script of a speech summarizing the panel discussion. So if you are summarizing, you are the moderator, you are going to summarize. I need the answer for all these questions in your notebook, right? Okay, so if you are going to summarize a panel discussion, what you will do? So understand, there are 5 panel members. They did contribute different ideas to the topic, and you were there, and there were some questions from the audience. You have to conclude all that, okay, and just comment over that. So let's review what we have discussed today. This is an example or a template. It's been great discussing on the whole. It has turned out to be a fruitful venture, like, okay. Hence, I told you, points raised by the panelist and their relevance, vote of thanks to the panelists, etc. All things should be included in that one. So that is the first activity you have to do. Just going to this again, let me explain one more thing. In your notebook, I need a panel discussion. There should be 5 members, 1 moderator, 4 panelists, and then you have to write the script of moderator and the script of panelist 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be asking that. That's your note. Okay. Today you have no other class or anything else. We have very only a small duration of time you are spending with me. All rest of time you can use to write it very well. Okay. So the second thing you have to understand from the third chapter is blurb writing. What do you mean by a blurb? The first step of answering any question for the examination is to understand the question, right? Maybe if you listen to the word blurb for first time, maybe you will be confused. What is a blurb? But if you know what you meant by blurb, it's very easy to answer such a question, right? So a blurb means, if you take a book, in the last page or in the last cover page, you can see a small description about the book. That is known as blurb. Okay. So blurb is the description of a book on its back cover. It's a brief summary of the book designed for marketing. It has no uniform pattern. So it has no any uniform pattern. But here you have an example of a blurb. Which book? The Temple Tiger and More Man-Eaters of Kumaon by Jim Corbett. So this is a book by Jim Corbett. Understand? It's already given in your textbook. Just read this, how you can prepare a blurb. Okay, this is the last of Jim Corbett's book on his unique and thrilling hunting experience in the Indian Himalayas. Corbett writes with an acute awareness of all jungle sights and sounds. His words charged with a great love to the human beings that lay within his hunting terrain. Together within the modesty, calm and precision of this prose, these qualities make these stories very much part of the classic Corbett corpse. So this is a description, and remaining part also you can see. Jungle love is not a science that can be learned from textbook. It can, however, be absorbed a little at time, and the absorption process can go on indefinitely, for the book of nature has no beginning as it has no end. So that was a beautiful blurb. Okay, so Jim Corbett. So after that you have to give the mail address and the publications their address. Why we have shown this example, if by chance there is a chance to ask question of blurb writing, and it's been asked for many examination also. That's why let me tell you, there is a chance. Okay, so understand, when you write a blurb, not only you have to write a small description about the theme of the book, and you should give 1 or 2 quotations from the book, and you should give some catchy headings and catchy lines for that, and you have to give the address of the book, and you have to introduce the author also. Here you have an example, right? Now prepare a blurb of Pradham Pradishruti, making use of the hints given below. So here you have hints. Pradham Pradishruti is a book of who wrote the matchbox? Ashapurna Devi. Understand? So here are the explanations or the all the content you have to include in that blurb is given here. Read it. Either you can read it from the screen or you can read it from your textbook. Okay. Ashapurna Devi created a space of her own in the world of creative literature and gender studies. Okay, it's like she once said, slowly and steadily a completely new world was getting created within my mind. It was a world of comprehension, of feeling. It was a world with a never-ending flow of feelings. Most of her writings marked a firm protest against the inequality and injustice rooted in gender discrimination. So many points are there. You have to include all the points. And here also the novel is about an uncommon woman. What's her name? See, Satyavati, who dared to break the so-called rules made to control lives of the Bengali women in those days. Bengali women in those days. The novel that depicts the endless suffering and the liberation of women in Bengal is a true story of a woman everywhere in India. So this is talking about the woman. So publication rights, everything is given here. So you have to find, first thing, 1 or 2 catchy word about Ashapurna Devi, about her other work, other famous work. And for example, if you are reading any book by Chetan Bhagat, sure you can say from the author of 5 Point Someone, What Not to Do in IITs. Okay, if you are reading any book of Paulo Coelho, maybe there in the blurb of his book you can see from the author of Alchemist, because they will quote one of famous books of that author. And a good blurb always includes coming points, right? Opens with a catchy statement, appeals to the reader's interest. So, what is our interest? That will be there in the text that we have to highlight. Means there will be different interest for the audience. There will be common interest for the audience. So a person who read that book should have, or such people or such community will have certain interest. That interest is covered in the book that we have to mention. Another thing, I just readers to read the book, just read it once. It's a worth reading one. Gives necessary information about the author, publisher, year of publication, etc. Appears short and dramatic. See, it should be short. Don't make it an elaborated essay, because there is difference between a review of a book and a blurb of a book. Describes in simple, direct language where the story begins, what the circumstances are, its socio-cultural events. Such things will be in a simple way, and never give the climax revealed in the blurb. Okay, because that would reduce the interest of the people to read the text. Okay, anyway, you should give a simple idea about it. So that's about the third chapter, and I think you have no much activities from the third chapter. So concentrate on panel discussion and blurb writing. Prepare both of that. Understand, if you have prepared it already, you can show me in the video class, and you can send me the same thing. I don't tell you to read it again, to write it again. But if you don't, you have to do it. Okay, so coming to the fourth chapter, you have to understand one thing. Even if we are discussing Horagallo, the activities from the fourth chapter is not about Horagallo itself. This is the activity of the unit. So when you go through each activity, understand this is a activity of unit, not about the Horagallo or anything else. Okay, the second activity of the language practice. Okay, understand, here you have to be familiar with adjectives and adverb. We were discussing that in +1 classes. Anyway, especially in his first flight or some chapters, we were discussing about adverb. Okay, here I would like to give you a small description or small a small introduction to the adverb. Okay, see, read it first. It was a large flat stone placed horizontally over two vertical ones, thus making a stone bench on which anyone could sit and rest a while, chat with a fellow traveler and exchange news of the road. Cool water would be kept in the earthen pots near the bench, and people could quench their thirst before starting their journey again. I am sure similar simple arrangements can be found in the village all over the country. Here the question is, read and pick out the adjectives and categorize them based. So first of all, we have to understand what is adjective. An adjective is a word which modifies a noun. It's a word which modifies a noun. What do you mean by noun? Noun means name. So understand, here large is a name, no. Flat is a name, no. Stone is a name, right? Stone is a name. So this stone was modified, or it was described, or it was explained by two words, large, flat. So this is an adjective, large. A large person, we cannot use that anyway. A large stone, a large sea, a large river. Anyway, so river is a noun, sea is a noun. So we use the word adjective to describe that noun. Flat is also. So one adjective, two adjective. Place it horizontally. So place it horizontally. This is adverb, because place it is a verb. To describing this verb, it's horizontally, means this is adverb and this is adjective. Okay, over two vertical ones. So vertical one, thus making a stone bench. See, here the stone is used as noun. Here the stone is used as what? Adjective. Bench. Bench is described with the word stone bench, on which anyone could sit and rest a while, chat with a fellow traveler. What do you mean by traveler? Means a person, a fellow traveler. So this is adjective. Exchange news of the road. Cool water. Water is noun, cool is adjective. Oh, cool water would be kept earthen pots. Pots, that's a noun, and earthen is an adjective. Okay, I hope you are getting that now. Okay, you are getting the idea about it. So collect the adjective from this. So you have to understand certain things like just a comprehension. See, so what do you mean by comprehension? Comprehension means, when we read something, if we are able to understand that, that's known as comprehension, means comprehensive reading. I hope many of us argue that we are able to read English, right? If someone asks you, are you able to read English? Of course, I know how to read English. Maybe you tell like this. But let me tell, reading means, if you want to tell that you are capable of reading, when you read a text, you should be able to understand that when you read a Malayalam text, I think that you don't have to go to read it again and again to make it understand, right? By reading you understand, you will be aware of the fact in the book. Same time, if you read English, I think you have to read it again and again. Then you have to understand one thing, you are not capable of reading. Reading means comprehensive reading. When you read that, you must be able to understand what's written. Like that, you can see in different international testing systems like IELTS or TOEFL. There you have the reading comprehension as a test. And in our public examination also, we will be given a paragraph and there will be questions also. Okay, same thing, see. So here is an advertisement. Just read this advertisement, and see, you have certain question from that. What is the theme of this advertisement? According to the advertisement, what is a threat faced by readers today? What are the advantages of reading with books? Okay, that's all. Okay. And why I concentrate this, pick out from the advertisement the words, phrases and clauses used for purpose of description. There are many phrases, many clauses which are used to describe the advertisement or describe that thing. You have to find it. That is your duty here. So what you mean by a clause, what you mean by a phrase, that's we are describing here. Okay, see, there is small difference between clause and phrase. Understand? A clause means a complete sentence. In case of clause, there will be independent clause and there will be dependent clause. In case of dependent clause, we need another sentence to finish that. Clause is a technical word for a group of words. Phrase is also same thing, but it will not have a complete meaning. For example, if I tell, my brother in USA, I tell, my brother in USA, that is not a complete sentence. That is known as phrase. That's a group of words. It has meaning but not a complete meaning. My brother in USA, my best friend, or my best film, like anything, that's phrase. But same time, in case of clause, you can tell the man who lives next to my door. For example, the man who lives next to my door. So here you can see a subject, the man, and verb, who lives. Understand? Next door. So a subject is there and a predicate. Predicate means, subject means a person who do that action in the sentence. Predicate means the remaining part, okay, or the verb and other thing. For example, if I tell this is a pen, is an example anyway. You will be confused about the verb. So let's move from that example. I come today early in the morning. For example, here who is the subject? I. Come today early in the morning is predicate. The remaining part of the subject which makes the fulfillment for the sentence is known as predicate. So for a clause there will be the man who lives next to my door. The man who lives next to my door. That's correct. That sentence is the man is there who lives next to door. So that sentence is complete, but it's dependent because that sentence is not finished. That man, what about that man? There's a question, right? So I will tell the man who lives next to my door is a doctor. So that's finished. Understand? I hope you got an idea about it. Okay, so let's go through that again. A clause is a group of related words containing a subject and predicate. I told predicate. So here you have to understand not only the clause but adjectival clause or adjective clause. Okay, what it means? Words containing a subject and a verb that functions as adjective. Adjective clauses are dependent on introduced by dependent signals which are relative pronouns. What do you mean by pronoun? What do you mean by noun? Noun means name. Pronouns means something that indicate name. For example, I can tell Raju went to hotel and he bought a snack, right? So we never repeat the word Raju bought a snack. We use he. That's a pronoun. He, she, they, we all are pronouns. And behind that you can see relative pronouns, means relatively it can be a pronoun, not altogether pronoun. Such words are. So adjective clauses will be with a relative pronoun, like what you know. Here you can see who, whom, whose, which, that are relative pronouns, relative adverbs when, were or why. See, I can give you examples. For example, why this comes as a see, even if I talk about the adjective clauses. So the man who came yesterday. The man who came yesterday. That's a sentence, but the man who came yesterday. The man is a subject in the sentence. Who came yesterday is acting as an adjective because that is a description about this man, right? That is a description or more information about this man that is connected by who came yesterday. So in case of subject we use who. For example, the whom, the word whom, understand, the girl whom I met yesterday was a model, understand. So the girl is here, that is subject. Whom I met yesterday is the predicate of the sentence. Same time is, it's not a predicate only. Whom I met yesterday is describing the girl. Was a model is a predicate and it comes to the end of the sentence. Understand? Like that, whose. Okay. A person, the person whose car was hit yesterday. Like that, you can use a pen which I bought yesterday. Like that, you can give why. Adjective here, not only a clause but it's an adjective clause, means there will be words like this. So I request you to write examples using who, whom. Otherwise you just search for examples, you will get all these examples. Okay, that's about adjectival clause. Here we have phrase. What do you mean by phrase? So a phrase is a group of related words that does not contain a subject-verb relationship. That is, it does not contain a subject and a predicate. Okay, that's a phrase. I told you, my friend, my best friend. Like if I tell that one and stop there, that's a phrase. That's not a sentence. Okay. An adjective phrase is also the same thing, is a phrase that tells us something about the noun it is modifying. Okay, for example, look at the nearby motel. Look the word, the nearby motel. Look at the word, the nearby motel. Look at this word. So motel is the subject here. Why I use the nearby? The nearby motel is a phrase and it's an adjective phrase. Offer cheap but comfortable rooms. That's a remaining part of this one. Okay, maybe I can tell the motel is also a phrase. It's a group of word, but it's so the nearby motel, that is adjective phrase. So you just understand first of all the difference between what phrase and clause. I hope this video will make it clear for you.
Let's start with an example. My best friend and John is my best friend. Now both of them are group of words, but one is a phrase and another is a clause. Can you identify which one is the phrase and which one is the clause? Let me give you a hint. From these two group of words, the group of word which has a subject and a verb combination is a clause, and the one which doesn't have the subject verb combination is a phrase. Now can you identify? My best friend is a group of word with no subject and a verb, so it's a phrase. And John is my best friend is having a subject verb combination, that is John as a subject and is as a verb, so it's a clause. Now let's define both of them properly with more examples to make things clear. First we will go with phrases. What is a phrase? Phrase is a group of words with no subject verb combination. It doesn't have any meaning if it is used alone. For example, the sports car. It is a group of words with a noun and an adjective. Watch movie. It is a group of words having verb. On the table. It is a group of words having preposition and noun, but it doesn't have any meaning if it is used alone. So phrases are actually group of words which are used as a single unit in a sentence. Now let's look at clauses. What is a clause? Clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb combination. It has a complete meaning by itself. Now clauses are mainly divided into two parts based on their usage. Maybe an independent clause or a dependent clause. An independent clause is actually a complete sentence. For example, you were in the party. It is a complete sentence and it doesn't depend on any another sentence to make it complete. Now, what is a dependent clause then? It is a group of words with a subject-verb combination, but it doesn't convey full meaning and hence it is not used as a sentence. For example, when I came home. Has a subject I and a verb came, and it is also a meaningful group of words, but it lacks the entire thought, that is when I came home then what, that is we want to know what happened after that. Now if I say when I came home you were in the party, that's a complete sentence with one dependent clause and one independent clause. So we have the combination of dependent and independent clause a meaningful sentence. Let's look into some more examples of dependent and independent clauses. First, before you go to bed, you have to finish your homework. Here, before you go to bed cannot be used alone as it won't convey any meaning. So, it's a dependent clause. Whereas, you have to finish your homework is an independent clause as it can be used alone. Combining them both will give a complete meaning to a sentence. After a month of research, he finally finished his first novel. Here, after a month of research is a dependent clause, and he finally finished his novel is an independent clause. Let's see one more example to make things even clear. I hate to drink coffee because it upsets my stomach. Here, I hate to drink coffee is an independent clause, while it upsets my stomach is a dependent clause. Now, I think you are clear with dependent and independent clauses. So we are done with the similarities and differences between phrases and clauses. So the key takeaways of the lessons are: first, the difference between a phrase and a clause, and second, independent and dependent clauses. Let's revise them. Firstly, what is a phrase? Phrase is a group of words without any subject and a verb combination, and it can't be used alone. Then, what is a clause? It's a group of words but with a subject and a verb combination, and it can be used alone. Finally, there are mainly two types of clauses: independent clause and dependent clause. Dependent clause are those which are complete sentences and dependent clauses are those which are not complete sentences. That's all in this video.
Now it's clear, right? At least you could understand what is phrase and clause. Okay. Now let's come to the point. The last exercise from this unit and a frequently asked question for your public examination also. Coming to the last exercise and a frequently asked question for your public examination, right? Understand this. See, edit the paragraph and we are confusing in many way, right? We have confusion over this. Okay, it's a confusing question. We don't understand where we have to add, where we have to reduce something. So editing the paragraph, that question, you can attend that question only by practicing more and more paragraphs. In every unit you have such questions. Try that. Okay, here hints are there. Given below is an opening paragraph of a review prepared by a student of class 12th. There are a few errors in it. Identify them and refine the paragraph. Okay, so in what you can find mistakes? See, the errors are in the following areas. Spelling mistakes will be there, tenses will be there, punctuations will be there, word order, article, concord, prepositions, anything can be. Let's read it. One of the classic film that define. See, here I hope you have studied about concord. After one of the, you have to use plural films. So one of the classic films that define, not that defines, because this is a singular subject. A singular subject always take S form. Okay, a singular subject always take S form. If I tell maybe one of the classic films, you feel it plural but it's singular, that's why the word define, you don't have to write, you have to add S here. Understand? Another thing, see, if I tell one of my pens is missed. Okay, one of my pens is missed, not are missed. Okay, one of, define American. So two mistake you got here. Gone with the wind. So here you have to understand the punctuations or some like you have to give inverted comma when you quote from somewhere, like here you have to give two inverted comma. Okay, and here you have to give. Okay, that's another mistake. Wait. Win is the rare example of a collaboration involving hundreds of talents. If you are using talents, then you have to use here hundreds of talents. Okay, hundreds of talents that turn out great for millions of people. Gone with the wind have again have. So gone with the wind have or has. Have we use with plural, has we use with singular. Understand? Okay, so gone with the wind has helped to define the myth and reality of the country's most tragic period of history, the Civil War and the Reconstruction. The popularity about, see here you have to understand the preposition. Popularity about, not popularity of. Okay, popularity of Margaret Mitchell's best-selling novel allowed the filmmakers to be confident of its success. Of course, requisite attention to customs and sets was paid. The film's visual effects, especially the burning of Atlanta, are indeed effective and memorable. Gone with the Wind deserves the label epic presence enough details. Okay, you can read it. Okay, here you just come to the point again. What are the mistakes? Allow the filmmakers to be confident of its success. Okay, I will be showing the real mistakes. Have, has, popularity of, epic, presence and details. Why? Look at the word where you give the present and presence. Here is a difference of concord. Okay, present is there, detail. Both this word are given mistaken there in the paragraph. Find it and correct it. And go through all other activities. I hope this is really in an informative class. We were not enjoying this. Same time, my dear friends, I would like to request you one thing I would like to request you, that do all the activities, and I will be asking you to show your notebook on the live sessions. Thank you so much for watching the class.